They all thought they were untouchable, until the billionaire pressed play and the footage revealed exactly who they were when no one was watching. The screens flickered to life across the boardroom. Faces froze, breaths caught. Executives, managers, interns, every person there was suddenly confronted with themselves. Every hidden move, every whispered shortcut, every moment of compromise, all exposed. Emeka Okoye leaned back in his chair, calm, calculating. The flickering glow of the monitors reflected off his sharp eyes. No one dared meet his gaze. "He told you," he said quietly, voice low but precise. "The truth always comes out, and none of you expected it." A bead of sweat rolled down Richard Stone's temple. Michelle Okeke fidgeted with her pen. Kofi Mensah's jaw clenched. Tunde Balogun's hands twitched against his laptop. And in the corner, Daniel, the maintenance man, stood silently, his expression unreadable. Emeka's gaze lingered on Daniel longer than anyone else. That man had broken all his assumptions, quietly, consistently, without anyone noticing. 6 months earlier, Emeka had installed cameras throughout the company, not for security, not for surveillance, but to test human character. He believed one thing: people only reveal their true selves when no one is watching. So he left traps, envelopes of cash in empty offices, confidential files unguarded, opportunities to cheat, lie, or manipulate. He didn't make rules, he just observed. And most employees failed. It was late Tuesday night. The office was quiet, except for the hum of the air conditioning. Daniel carried his maintenance kit, moving through hallways with practiced calm. In the finance office, a beige envelope peeked from under the corner of a desk. Cash. Thick. Daniel froze. He glanced around. Empty office. No cameras in sight. His fingers hovered over the envelope. He could keep it. No one would know. But he didn't hesitate. He picked it up and walked straight to the senior accountant. "Daniel, I found this under your desk." Hands over the envelope carefully. The accountant. Oh my, I didn't even notice. Thank you, Daniel." The accountant's hands shook slightly, a mixture of embarrassment and relief. Daniel, softly, "It's not mine. It's just not right to leave it there." He smiled faintly, almost to himself, and began walking back toward the storage closet. You always do the right thing, don't you?" Daniel paused, looking back at her. His eyes were steady, calm, but carried the weight of experience. "I don't do it for praise. I do it because someone has to." The accountant's mouth opened, but no words came. She could only nod, the gravity of the act settling in the empty room. Daniel's movements were slow but deliberate as he moved through the office. On the hidden cameras, Emeka watched every gesture, how Daniel adjusted a crooked chair, straightened a stack of papers, and double-checked a faulty ceiling tile. Small acts no one else would ever notice, but all part of the man's instinct to fix things that weren't his responsibility. Emeka, muttering to himself, "Who is this man, and why does he care when no one else does?" Meanwhile, Richard Stones had made his first misstep. A file of sensitive financial projections had been left open on his desk during the day. Richard, to himself, smiling slightly, "Just a small tweak, no one will notice." He adjusted one column, a minor change, but enough to favor him in upcoming negotiations. He leaned back, confident. Little did he know, Emeka was watching. Every subtle smirk, every flicker of hesitation, every rationalization captured perfectly. Emeka whispers into himself, "Predictable."
Michelle Okeke, exhausted after a late strategy meeting, spotted the same beige envelope Daniel had found earlier. She sighed, running her hand through her hair. "I'll replace it tomorrow. No harm done tonight." Her rationalization felt reasonable at the moment, but it was a quiet compromise she didn't realize would be captured. Kofi Mensah, ambitious and restless, discovered confidential documents left carelessly in the manager's office. He paused, hands hovering over the files. "This could get me ahead. No one will ever know." He began copying select documents onto a flash drive. Excitement sparkled in his eyes, the thrill of risk mixing with ambition. Emeka. And so it begins. Tunde Balogun, responsible for the company's IT systems, noticed irregularities in camera placements. Small blinking indicators didn't match his original setup. Tunde. Why are these lines here? Did someone else configure this? He paused, considering the possibility. A chill ran down his spine, but he shrugged. "Just doing my job." He turned back to the console, unaware that Emeka's experiment relied on him staying unaware. Later that night, Daniel walked into the server room. A spark flickered from a loose wire, faint but dangerous. The potential hazard was clear. If left unchecked, it could cascade into a major fire. Daniel knelt, examining the circuit carefully. No one was there. No one would see. And yet, he repaired it, quietly, meticulously, taking extra care to ensure no damage could occur. As he straightened, he noticed a pile of misplaced files near Michelle's desk. No one else had the patience to organize it. No one even thought to care. But Daniel did. He methodically placed each file back, aligning edges, restoring order. Daniel, softly to himself, "If no one else will, I will." It wasn't pride, it was instinct.
The office was quieter than usual that Thursday night. Only the hum of the air conditioning and the faint click of a mouse echoed through the corridors. Daniel moved methodically, his maintenance kit in hand, checking lights, tightening loose panels, making sure everything was in order. On his rounds, he noticed Michelle Okeke struggling with a stack of folders she had dropped in her hurry to leave. He knelt to help her, sorting papers quietly. "You dropped these. Be careful, these are important." "Thanks, I just can't seem to keep up today." "It's okay, just take your time. Things don't have to be perfect right away." Michelle's face softened, a small smile breaking through her exhaustion. For a moment, she seemed almost human again, away from the ruthless grind of corporate ambition. Meanwhile, Richard Stones had discovered another envelope, this time containing a significant amount of cash left on the conference table. He glanced around, alone in the office. "No one will know, just this once." He pocketed it with a subtle flick of his wrist, then returned to his chair. The thrill of bending the rules gave him a fleeting sense of superiority. Far away in a dark corner, Kofi Mensah was scanning through confidential documents he wasn't supposed to touch. He copied several files to a USB stick, a grin spreading across his face. "This is perfect. I'm getting ahead and no one even knows." The office lights flickered faintly, a reminder that someone was always watching. Daniel noticed too, though he didn't react. He just continued his work. Someone always sees, even if they don't. That night, Daniel's second test came in the form of a minor electrical issue in the server room. A frayed wire sparked intermittently, unnoticed by anyone but him. He knelt, carefully examining it. The risk was real, a fire hazard if ignored, but Daniel worked meticulously, fixing the wire and ensuring the circuits were stable. Better safe than sorry, even if no one knows. As he straightened, he noticed a stack of files spilling onto the floor near Michelle's desk. Another minor mess, another problem no one else would notice. He took a deep breath and set the files neatly back in place. If you can't trust anyone to do the right thing, then you do it yourself. Emeka watched from his screens, increasingly obsessed. Daniel's consistency, his unassuming diligence, and his quiet morality were unlike anything Emeka had seen before. Who is this man, and why does he care when no one else does? He leaned forward, eyes narrowing as he studied the footage. Every act, every movement, every choice Daniel made, he was cataloging it all, comparing it silently to the failings of his executives. Richard cheats, Michelle compromises, Kofi manipulates, and yet this man just does what's right. The next morning, tensions in the office were palpable. Executives whispered, unsure of why something felt off. "Have you noticed anything strange lately?" "Nothing. I'm just doing my work. You're imagining things." Maybe someone's being tested. Could be a new audit or internal review. Daniel moved through the office silently, unnoticed, but his actions were already creating ripples. Small favors, quiet corrections, subtle interventions, things that mattered more than anyone realized. Why does he always help, even when no one sees? He's just maintenance, doesn't matter. Little did they know, it mattered more than anything. Later that week, Emeka increased the stakes. He left a confidential email on every desk, offering a shortcut to promotion, a hint at a bonus if certain protocols were ignored. Richard was the first to bite, justifying his choice. It's not stealing, just being efficient. Kofi followed, excitement in his eyes as he tried to manipulate the system. If this works, it's a fast track to the top. No one has to know. Michelle hesitated. She picked up the email, read it carefully, then sighed. Maybe just this once, but I'll fix it later. She placed it back on her desk, rationalizing her compromise. Daniel, as usual, ignored the emails entirely. Instead, he noticed the printer struggling to feed paper. He knelt, cleared the jam, and made sure the machine was working perfectly before moving on. Do the right thing, always, even if it doesn't matter to anyone else. Tension escalated between the employees over the next few days. Whispers and suspicion filled the office. Did you notice Daniel? Always around, fixing things, never taking shortcuts. He's weird. Yeah, annoying too. How does he always get it right? It's unsettling. Makes the rest of us look bad. No one suspected that Daniel was just being himself, quietly consistent, morally untouchable in a world where shortcuts ruled. One night, Daniel found another test, a pile of cash left in an open drawer, far larger than any before. His hand hovered over it. Every instinct screamed temptation. It's not mine. Never mine. He closed the drawer, walking away. But before leaving, he straightened the papers around it, realigned the pens, and wiped a faint smudge off the desk. Do what's right, even when no one is watching. Emeka leaned back in his chair, reviewing the footage, growing more obsessed. No one should be this perfect. No one. And in that obsession, he realized something terrifying. Daniel wasn't just doing his job. He was quietly teaching a lesson about morality no one else could see. Not yet.
The office had changed in the past few weeks. Subtle shifts in behavior, quiet suspicions, whispered rumors. It was as if everyone could sense something, though no one could name it. Richard Stones lingered longer in the hallways, glancing at Daniel as he passed. How does he always know what's right without being told? Michelle Okeke leaned against her desk, staring at a spreadsheet she knew she had manipulated days ago. Guilt gnawed at her. It was supposed to be harmless, just one small shortcut. Kofi, overhearing, smirking. Harmless? You call bending the rules harmless? Michelle shot him a sharp glance, but said nothing. Kofi's grin widened. Everyone's slipping, aren't they? Except him. Daniel was walking past, toolbox in hand, completely unaware of the conversation behind him. He adjusted a chair, noticed a pen on the floor, and set it back in place. No one noticed, and that was the point. That evening, Michelle cornered Richard near the coffee machine. "Do you ever feel like someone's watching?" Richard scoffs. "Watching? Who? Security? This isn't a spy movie." "No, not security. I mean, like every little thing we do is being judged. Everything." Richard's smirk faltered. A flicker of unease passed across his face. "You're imagining things. It's paranoia." But even as he said it, he noticed Daniel in the distance, quietly straightening a crooked picture frame. Richard's jaw tightened. How does he make everything look right? Daniel paused in the server room, reviewing logs for a maintenance check. Something was off. Patterns in the camera placements, subtle anomalies. He frowned, noticing how the blinking lights didn't match the normal configuration. Someone's testing, aren't they? But why me? He didn't rush to conclusions. He didn't act suspiciously. He simply noted it, filing it away in his mind. Daniel had learned long ago that patience revealed more than reaction. Emeka was relentless. Day after day, he studied the footage, compiling Daniel's actions against the failings of everyone else. Every minor act, returning a dropped pen, fixing a loose wire, replacing a misfiled document, was magnified in his mind. No one should be this consistent. No one. Why does he care when no one else does? He paused the footage repeatedly, rewinding, studying Daniel's face, his hands, the rhythm of his work. The contrast to Richard, Michelle, and Kofi was glaring. They all fail, every single one of them. But him, he's untouchable, unseen, unshakable, perfect. Obsession gnawed at him. He began leaving more tempting opportunities around Daniel, curious how far he would go. Employees began to sense the pressure, though they didn't know why. Mistakes that would normally be forgiven were now scrutinized. Kofi, whispering to Michelle, "I swear, something's different. They're watching us closer. Or someone is. It's that maintenance guy. Every time he fixes something, makes it look effortless. Everyone notices it, makes us look bad." "Richard, Daniel doesn't even try to impress. He just does what's right. Drives me insane." Whispers and tension filled the office. Everyone felt exposed, even when they didn't know the cameras existed. Their paranoia escalated. That night, a potentially catastrophic error arose in the data center. A misconfigured server was causing a chain reaction, threatening the company's critical systems. Daniel arrived, tools in hand, noticing the error immediately. He assessed the situation, carefully reconfiguring the servers. Sweat ran down his face as he worked, but he never panicked. "If I don't fix this, it's more than money that's at risk. It's lives, jobs, everything." He stayed until the system stabilized, running diagnostics 3 times, double-checking every connection. Finally, he stepped back, satisfied. No one will know, no one will see, and that's fine. On the hidden monitors, Emeka's eyes widened. He prevented a disaster, and he didn't even think of recognition, not once. The next day, tension hit a breaking point. Richard called a quiet meeting with Kofi and Michelle in the lounge. "We need to figure this out. Something's going on, and it's making us sloppy. It's Daniel. He makes everyone else look incompetent without trying. And yet, he doesn't even care about status, bonuses, nothing. How does he do it?" Richard slammed a fist lightly on the table, frustration etched on his face. "I'm telling you, if I had even a fraction of his focus, I'd be unstoppable. It's infuriating. He just does the right thing. No shortcuts, no schemes, nothing." They all fell silent, realizing they were discussing someone they had always ignored, someone considered invisible in the hierarchy, but now overshadowed them morally and ethically. Emeka, behind the scenes, began to orchestrate the climax. He set the stage for a massive reveal, a collection of every employee's choices contrasted with Daniel's integrity. Let's see what happens when they are forced to watch themselves and him. He made subtle adjustments, ensuring every camera angle captured not only mistakes, but small human details, hesitation, guilt, fleeting remorse. If they fail, it won't just be a lesson, it will be unforgettable. Daniel, still unaware of the full extent of the surveillance, continued his quiet diligence. He mopped a spilled coffee, straightened a crooked picture, returned a lost ID card to a frantic intern. Every act, small or large, carried meaning. Doing the right thing isn't about reward, it's about who you are, and that is enough. Meanwhile, Emeka leaned closer to his screens, heart racing. This man could change everything I thought I knew about people. The obsession had grown beyond curiosity. It was personal.
The boardroom was deathly silent. The hum of the projector and the glow of the monitors were the only sounds. Every executive, manager, and intern sat rigidly, knowing something monumental was about to happen. Emeka Okoye pressed the remote. A hush fell over the room. You all thought no one was watching, that you could bend, cheat, or ignore what was right without consequence. Let's see who you really are. The first clips flickered across the screens. Richard Stone's casually pocketing cash from an unattended envelope. Michelle Okeke hesitating over a confidential email, ultimately altering a figure to benefit herself. Kofi Mensah copying sensitive files onto a USB drive with a sly grin. Tunde Belugan ignoring subtle system anomalies that could have exposed others' mistakes. Each clip lingered long enough for the room to feel the weight of betrayal. Whispers erupted. Michelle covered her mouth. Kofi's eyes darted nervously to Richard. Tension crackled. Michelle whispering, I can't believe this. Richard clenching his fists. How did he know? Then the footage shifted. Daniel, dropping a misplaced pen, returning a lost ID, straightening disheveled files, repairing the server wire, ensuring every machine was working perfectly, rescuing critical systems from disaster, all captured, silently, no hesitation, no thought of recognition, just integrity. The room froze, every breath caught. Emeka, voice trembling slightly, awe creeping in. This is the man who did everything right, without being asked, without reward, without recognition. Even the usually cold, calculating billionaire felt a stirring in his chest. The magnitude of Daniel's quiet heroism hit him harder than any corporate achievement ever could. Richard's face went pale. Kofi looked like he might shrink into the floor. Michelle's eyes glistened with shame. And Daniel, he stood, expression calm, almost unreadable, though a faint pride flickered in his eyes. Emeka, leaning forward, voice low, intense. I have spent my life believing everyone has a price. Everyone compromises when it suits them. Everyone has a weakness, except you. Daniel simply nodded, quiet but firm, letting the footage speak louder than words. Emeka sank back into his chair, heart racing. His worldview, meticulously built over decades of observing the world, was cracking. Emeka, to himself, I was wrong. People can act right, even when there is nothing in it for them, even when no one notices, even when the world rewards the opposite. He felt a rush of something unfamiliar, humility, admiration, confusion, a realization that morality wasn't transactional, it was innate for some. Later, when the boardroom emptied, Daniel lingered near the coffee machine, speaking quietly with a junior intern who had been observing him. Intern, Daniel, how did you always know the right thing to do? You never faltered, not once, even with all those temptations. Daniel, smirking faintly, voice low and deliberate. You want to know the truth?
I knew about the cameras the entire time. Every test, every trap, every little mistake they made, I saw it coming. The intern blinked, confused. Intern, so you were just pretending? Daniel, pretending, maybe. Or maybe I was playing a game they never even knew existed. His eyes gleamed with something sharp and unsettling. Daniel, I let them fail. I let them crumble. Every action, every lapse, every tiny sin, I let it happen, because I wanted to see how weak they really were. And you know the best part? He leaned closer, voice almost a whisper. No one suspects me. No one sees that I could have exposed them any time. And the truth is, I enjoyed it. I've manipulated the system, the cameras, and even their morality. They think I'm virtuous. They think I'm the hero. But in reality, I've been controlling them the entire time. And Emeka, even he doesn't know it yet. The intern's eyes widened, realizing Daniel's calm exterior had masked a deeply calculating, almost predatory intelligence. The next morning, the consequences were visible. Daniel was promoted, entrusted with oversight of operations, and publicly recognized. His skill, diligence, and composure made him invaluable. His dark cunning remained hidden, unnoticed. Richard, Michelle, and Kofi faced formal reprimands and mandatory ethics training. Their lapses were undeniable, broadcast and witnessed in detail. Emeka, meanwhile, retained his usual calm exterior, but privately he wrestled with the weight of the lesson. Emeka, quietly to himself, sitting alone in his office. I thought I knew human nature, but I underestimated it, and him. What Emeka didn't know, and what no one else suspected, was that Daniel had orchestrated much of the chaos himself. His good deeds had been carefully timed, calculated to manipulate perception and power, a quiet, invisible master of the game. As Daniel settled into his new role, the office atmosphere subtly shifted. People who had failed began reflecting on their choices. Morality, integrity, and action were no longer abstract ideas. They were visible, undeniable. Sometimes the world tests us when no one is watching, and sometimes those who seem invisible teach the greatest lessons or hide the darkest secrets. Who are you when no one sees? And how far would you go if you knew no one could stop you? If this story captivated you, imagine the power and danger of choices and the people who move in the shadows, shaping outcomes you can't see. Don't forget to subscribe for more stories like this. Comment below what you think Daniel will do next, and like if you believe morality and cunning shape the world in ways we rarely understand.